How do you deal with your bird constantly biting you? How do you get over it? Let's find out and look at some ideas and tips in this video. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Parrot Teacher. I'm David and today it's a bonus video from my biting series. I was only going to do 4 videos in my biting series, but I thought it deserved a 5th video because it's something that almost no one talks about, no one covers, no one's really interested in addressing, and that's how do you cope when your bird bites you. Even we haven't addressed it properly. We talk about what you should do, what you shouldn't do, how to avoid it in the first place, but as a person, how do you cope with your bird biting you? Because it is difficult and it is challenging, and it's something I felt that was well worth exploring as part of my biting series. Now, if you do have a bird or multiple birds or whatever situation that you're in and they are biting, be they large or tiny, it all hurts. It is difficult to cope and it can be exceptionally challenging and stressful. We've been there, we still have moments when we are there with Kipling and we understand. And honestly, I really feel it should be explored more because people are almost embarrassed to talk about it. Some people wear it as a badge of pride when they get bitten and they spray their birds with water. Other people just try to hide it because it makes them feel that they look weak, or maybe they're embarrassed because they feel they shouldn't be getting bitten in the first place, or simply because of how it looks. And I understand both perspectives, honestly, but for us personally, we try to be as honest as possible, and we feel that our experiences help, as both trainers and people who have parrots in our house, in our environment, give us a little edge to help to understand how people are experiencing things and to give some decent advice, empathetic advice to those people. So when you get bitten by a bird, how does it generally make you feel? And I'm hoping that some of these sentiments are going to echo with you if you're in a situation, and maybe make you feel less alone and a bit more confident that you can get through it. One of the biggest problems with getting bitten by a bird is it breaks our trust. Now, we talk about when we break trust of a bird, when we do something that causes them to lose confidence and feel fearful of us. Exactly the same happens to us humans. If we get bitten constantly and we don't understand why, that is taking money out of our trust bank. We get less inclined to want to interact. We get fearful of getting bitten in the future, and that's a natural reaction, completely normal. Why would we not react that way? We don't want to get hurt, especially when we're supposed to be in our own safe place, so it's completely natural to feel that way. There's also an idea, a perspective everyone has when they bring a parrot into their house, and that is that that's going to be a pet. You're going to have love from it, you're going to engage with it, you're going to have lots of fun. Even people who are aware and take on rescues have this sentiment and hope, and it's not always like that. Sometimes it isn't fun, it's not fun, it's just more of a chore and it's annoying, especially when you're getting bitten and having to put in extra work. It's not fun, and it's okay to feel stressed out by that, and that it is not fun because it isn't. Who enjoys getting bitten over the time? Some people see it as a challenge. We try to see it as a challenge to rehabilitate and make and see the improvement in these birds, which we have seen over and over again, both in our clients and in our own parrots who have taken on as rescues. But it's not fun and it's not enjoyable, and I don't think there's any shame in feeling that way. Now, the final area I feel getting bitten by your bird constantly affects us is it encourages us to disengage as a reflex action. As humans, we don't want to get hurt, it's not fun, it's not enjoyable, so we disengage. We want to interact less, and it's exactly the same for our parrots. If they have negative experiences, the only difference is we can overcome them a lot easier and we have our rational thinking to do it. So it's not unnatural, it's not unusual to want to disengage from your parrot if that happens, but this last one is an area where I do have understanding, but I would strongly encourage people not to take this pathway. The disengagement generally leads to a spiral of unfulfilled needs for your bird, worse behaviour, and most of the time the bird just gets rehomed elsewhere, and then it's the end of the story for that bird, and hopefully it won't happen again unless the next person's prepared for it. Then if they're not, then the spiral continues. So it's okay to want to disengage. It's also okay to disengage for a little while, but if you keep doing it, it becomes a habit for you and your bird gets less and less attention. That's going to really be a bad recipe for you and your bird, as understandable as it is. So I've talked about the ways I feel that it impacts people from our personal experience, from what other people have talked to me about, the discussions I've had. I want to give you guys some tips for coping with it, for the emotional sort of strain of it, coping with biting and how to sort of get through it from our perspective. Because we've got loads of tips in this series and all across our channels about how to deal with it from a training perspective. But from an emotional perspective and from a human perspective, I thought I'd offer these tips to you guys too. Now, my biggest takeaway from this video for you guys, and the thing I think you should always keep in the back of your mind, is try not to take biting personally. It is very easy to do. It is so natural for us humans, but try to separate it out. Do not take it personally, because it's not a personal attack. Even if the bird prefers one human to the other and it's going for one, that is still not personal. It doesn't think that way. It does require work and it does require some training effort, but if you think about every attack or every bite that happens as a personal attack, it's going to make you feel that much worse. If you separate it out a little bit, it's just my bird expressing fear, it's my bird expressing stress, then it becomes a little bit easier to rationalise and to take a fresh approach with. Try not to take it personally, it's really an important message. If you are dealing with an exceptionally difficult bird, allow yourself time if you have to. If you have to pop that bird back in the cage, preferably without grabbing or harming it, through and like getting on a perch or whatever, that's the best way. But if you have to give yourself a moment, that's fine. Just step away once you know your bird's safe or your birds are safe. Take that time and then come back fresh. The important thing is to come back, not to just take that time and disengage completely, because that's just going to lead to that cycle I talked about in the previous sort of section. Because if you do disengage and you do just keep doing it, it's bad. But a little bit of a rest for you is okay. It's just, do come back to it. And once you've had that time and you've not taken it personally, you've had your moment, reset and then come back strong. Analyse what's happened, film the interactions, take it from a technical, scientific perspective. Try and think about it from an outside bubble, because it makes it a bit easier to process, a bit more rationally, taking the emotion out of it, because the emotion is going to be a big part of it in that moment. You go away, you come back, you reset and you see what you can do. Go back to the last successful step, do training through the bars if you have to, just to get those interactions going. Because the more positive interactions you have, the more you observe your bird and work out what's going on, the more chance you have of solving the biting behaviour and improving things over time. When you're coming back, adapt and adjust. Adapt your approach based on the information you're getting, adjust what you have to do, because it's not always going to be the same, maybe because it's not going to be a consistent graph, you know, sometimes it's very much up and down, our own experience is there, so adapt and adjust with what you have to do. If you have to give them slightly shorter outings but more frequently, because there is a moment when they start getting overstimulated, that's fine, do that. Try to balance the quality of life between you and your bird, because they need a quality of life and so do you, so make sure you get that balance right, but don't let either side get neglected, because that's where you lead to problems. You know, adapt, adjust, come back to it and do what you can do. And if you're really struggling, then reach out to someone for help, watch more videos like ours, come to our consultation business and hopefully we can help, because obviously there is the option of giving that bird to someone else who may be more qualified, but you should only really take that as a last resort. Because honestly, most of these problems can be solved, they can be worked through, especially if you take the knee-jerk out of it and you keep working. It's not very fun to work through it, but the sense of satisfaction afterwards is very good. And even with these sort of examples, there is a middle ground where you just adjust your lifestyle slightly. The bird has a slightly different environment, maybe to provide an aviary, and it has a little bit less contact, it has a partner to spend time with. There are loads of options out there that don't involve just giving that bird straight to a rescue or leaving it on the side of the street, which doesn't happen that often, but I have seen examples of. So do be kind to yourself and make sure you be kind to your bird as well, because it will help for everyone in the end. So guys, I hope you found this video useful. Remember, you can reach out to us in the comments. I can't promise long replies in the comments. I will try to help. We've got loads of video resources in biting, especially in this series, so watch the rest of the series. If you're having problems with biting or problems in behaviour in general, you can reach out to our consultation business, Best Behaved Bird. We are happy to help. We will try our best to help you through a formal consultation where we will look at everything and give you an outside perspective. But in the meantime, please do explore the rest of the channel. I hope you're doing really well. And if biting is going on, you're coping well and being kind to yourself. Take care and see you later.